Greetings, everyone. Happy Thursday. Today is the day that Jupiter rules, and Jupiter is currently um, in Gemini. It just went direct about a week ago. And Jupiter in Gemini is the expansion of our perspective. It's a really powerful energy that gives us the opportunity to see things in a new way, to access a new story about reality. One of the things that I find to be very fascinating as I study is learning how reality really works and understanding that the way we were taught that it works is not how it works at all, which is why we are in the situations that we're in right now. So today I'm making a cacao this morning. My energy is wonky today is what I'll say. The moon is in Virgo. I am a Virgo. When the moon is where my sun sign is, I fast. I don't eat. So I'm fasting today, meaning so I'll just do liquid. So I'm starting today. I had some water this morning already, and I'm gonna have a cacao. I'm making a cacao right now. This is my cacao. I get it from a guy here at a farmer's market, and he gets it from Costa Rica. So I'm gonna put the cacao, and then I put some mushrooms, mud water in it because then that makes it extra delicious. It just gives it a real chocolatey, rich experience. Plus, the mushrooms are really good for you. So the mushrooms, and then I put some cinnamon, some Ceylon cinnamon, which helps the blood, which is good to move the energy. So because I'm feeling today, I want to do some things that are going to help my energy move. And then this is ground cloves. Cloves is also really good for movement and digestion and all of that. And with the moon in Virgo, Virgo governs the digestion. It governs our lower intestines. Um, so a little clove, a little cinnamon, the mushrooms, the cacao, of course, and walnut milk, which only has walnuts and water. So a little bit of that. And then I got to sweeten it. I'm telling you, y'all, like, sweetness is my thing. Honey. Honey from the farmer's market. So I'll put like 2 heaping teaspoons of this, like this size, but in big ones. So that it's sweet enough for me. I need sweetness in my life. We all need sweetness in our lives, especially right now, while the world is so topsy-turvy. Like our joy, the things that we do to really take care of ourselves are our priority right now because everything is falling apart. And when everything falls apart, your self-care becomes your primary thing. And so now I'm going to just blend it a little bit. I'm going to give it a little zoom, zoom, zoom. If I can find the, okay, yeah, here. All right, so let me take the spoon out. It's nice and thick too. And see if I can get a little juice in here and get some. Yay! And that just blends it all up. While it also makes a mess on my stovetop, which I will have to clean up. All right. So let me get my cup. That's my Virgo girl cup. And then just pour. Yum. All right. So let's go sit down and talk about the nodes. This final days of Aquarius, the nodes in Virgo and Pisces, while the moon is actually in Virgo. And so this is a really opportune time for us. I haven't even taken off my pajamas yet, y'all. Like it's it's a very lazy day here in Los Angeles for those of you who are local. It's a very lazy day for in Los Angeles for those of you who are local here. We are having rain and it is quite lovely. Okay, so today is Thursday and the moon is in Virgo and it went into Virgo last night and it will be there until tomorrow afternoon. So I have to put on some music. I need music in the background. So we have 2.5 days while the moon is in Virgo, and it's going to be in opposition to Saturn and Neptune, and it's going to conjunct the nodes. So this is when the moon is where the nodes are. It's a opportunity to really go deeper. So one of the things that I'm noticing in my own experience is that my body, like my knee is doing something, my right knee, the right side of the body is the feminine side of the body, and the knees mean progression. The knees are like your willingness to move forward. So I use everything in my life to understand what's happening with me emotionally. So when I start having things happening in my body and health things, I don't think you're like, oh, something is wrong. I start asking, what is it that my body is communicating to me? What is it my body is trying to tell me? And because the South Node is in Virgo, our bodies are giving us information because Virgo is the energy of healing and transformation. So with the South Node there, it is time for us to really learn how to communicate with our bodies and heal from the inside out, to stop giving our authority away and believing that other people have the answers for you. So this past week for me has been really challenging because the full moons illumine aspects of ourselves that we don't see. And so with Leo is the energy of your self-expression, your individual expression, your individual creativity. And what I have been experiencing this week has been this interesting tug of war inside of me based upon how I was raised. Like, it's very important to recognize that the things that are going on in your life were seeded in you from 0 to 7 years old. So just yesterday, I was remembering that my mother was a prostitute, my father was a pimp. I was deeply embarrassed of my parents. I was deeply embarrassed that they were my parents. That my grandmother would call and be like, your mother is in jail or your dad is this. Like, as a child, I was mortified. Like now when I think about it, I just laugh at what an old little soul I was, and how I was like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, don't they know that we don't behave that way? Don't they know that people are watching? Like, I felt like that as a child. And all of that tension held in my body. And then my grandmother was a Capricorn and she was deeply depressed. I lived in the house of a pack rat. So I couldn't bring friends home. I couldn't take my parents anywhere because they didn't know how to behave. I was trapped in this dimension where I was completely at odds with everything in my world. So it forced me to go inside. And I used to have hives, and like I would itch a lot, and I would have canker sores. Like my whole mouth would be filled with canker sores. And so as I have started doing all this studying and understanding, like that my body is still holding on to that stuff. And those experiences of embarrassment or shame are still seeding my relationships today. And as we have the South Node moving through Virgo, I have the energy to heal those old, outdated patterns. And when I tell you, it's a fascinating thing to understand how the universe is connected inside and out. And we are so deeply distracted by Trump and Kanye and Kendrick and Kim and Beyonce and we're so distracted by all of these things that don't have anything to do with us really. It's like one day I sat down and I listened to everything that was going on the news and the media, and I just checked in and I was like, none of that shit has anything to do with me. None of it. Not the price of Beyonce's concert tickets, not who Sean Puffy Combs raped, not who, none of it, not who, not who Trump is sending way to, like, none of it has anything to do with me. And every thought, every feeling that I generate towards these things are stealing my own energy. It has nothing to do with me. And so, and it's these ways that our energies are being hijacked could be used to heal your body. So because I don't use my energy to think about all the things, I can pay attention to why is this happening? Oh, my knee is hurting. Okay, let me get comfortable with my knee and do some meditation. And what's going on? Oh, I'm having a challenging time moving forward. Why am I having a challenging time moving forward? And sitting and listening. Oh, because I I feel like I'm going to be disappointed again. Well, why are you going to be disappointed? Because your parents always disappointed you. Oh, and because your grandmother didn't have. Oh, so I feel like I'm going to be disappointed. So that energy. So then I can do the rituals and the practices that I need to do to heal those internal narratives that are building up, that are about to create illness in my body. Like, that is how we get diabetes. That is how we get heart disease. It's unfinished business that is happening in your emotions that lodges in your body. And while the South Node is moving through Virgo for the next 17 months, we get to heal those belief systems that are showing up in our bodies and systems. It's such an interesting thing. Yesterday, I was with a client who's really young. She's like 20 years old. And I'm looking at her chart, and she has just a whole lot of family pattern stuff. Like, she was a Cancer in the 10th house, a Virgo rising, 6th house Pisces, with all sorts of stuff. And I'm looking at her chart and I'm like, you got a lot of family karma stuff to deal with. She's 20, she doesn't even know it. She's still fresh out of her household. She doesn't even understand the dynamic really between her parents, not in a way that she could see how she's going to end up playing that stuff out in her own life, right? So I'm meeting with her and I'm just asking her, what are the things that you see? And she doesn't see anything, but just because she doesn't see it doesn't mean anything. It'll show up, it'll come for her in other ways. It'll come for her in her relationships. Like, she was like, I'm just starting to date. Like, she'd never dated. So she had Chiron in the 5th house. I was like, oh, that's where it's going to get her. She's going to learn the lessons of her family in her romantic relationships. But she was just starting. And so now, because I was reading her chart, I got to give her information, tools, rituals, practices to support her in making the highest choice available. Whether she'll make it or not is really dependent upon her devotion to herself. But she has the information and knows what to do in order to get there. And this is how we run interference with disease and disease, emotional disease, mental disease, spiritual disease, by understanding how we are wired and doing the work to function differently, to not go in the footsteps of those who walked before you. You don't want to go in that direction. We want to be grateful that they got us here. We want to celebrate their triumphs and acknowledge their failures, but we also want to know that we are living through a different experience, and we're here to transmute that stuff into something else. We're not here to follow the same patterns. And the way you don't follow the same patterns is by changing your mind. You have to change your mind. And your changing your mind will lead you into changing your feelings. And changing your feelings and your mind will lead you into changing your choices. And changing your choices will lead you into creating a new experience around you. You know, if you're not choosing, one of the things that I've been noticing, like and let me say, I've been doing this work. This work I'm doing, I have been doing since I was in my 20s. It just keeps on giving. That's all I can really say. The human experience is a school. I have breaks, I have opportunities where I'm not as deep in it as, you know, as I am now, but because the South Node is in Virgo and I am a Virgo, the work is really deep right now. In 3 years, it won't be as deep. You know what I mean? It'll shift into something else. But because we are where we are on the planet, because there's a lot of transformation happening, because we are all in this together, and I am someone who is showing up as a teacher, I have work to do. And so I look at myself and I see the areas with this full moon in Leo. I've been paying attention because the sun is in Aquarius, which is in opposition to Leo. So they're sister signs. Aquarius is your individual, unique, innovative self, like who you're becoming, your future. And Leo is the energy that seeds that. It's the child in you. Like the child that you were when you were 3 and 4 still exists inside of you. Many of us have just suppressed it and put it away because we were told that that's wrong, or that's not good enough, or this is better over here. So you begin to suppress those unique parts of yourself. And I noticed that because I grew up in a place where I was embarrassed and my parents were mortifying to me, I really suppressed my own wisdom and my own perspective because there was just no place for it where I was growing up. Like my grandmother was a Christian and that was the most magic there was, but there was not a real place for me to truly be myself and to discover how to be myself. And what I see now as an adult is that such a trip. Like I noticed that because I was in that environment, I literally just saw this the other day. It's like there was a little voice inside of me that was always sending out a SOS signal, like, help, I need help. So everywhere I went, I had this deep internal yearning for somebody to rescue me because I felt like I was in danger all the time. And in many ways I was, you know what I mean? I can look back now. I understand as an adult why I felt like that. Like there was gang violence. My parents were using drugs and cocaine and there was guns around. Like so yeah, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that my feelings weren't valid. What I'm saying is that I created mechanisms to survive that experience that are hindering me from being myself now. And one of the mechanisms that I discovered was this little voice and this yearning, this pull, this magnet that was everywhere I went. Like as a child, it's almost like if people would have said, how you doing? I would have been like, I'm in danger. Help. Somebody come and help me. My mother is doing this. My father is doing that. And there were times when that would happen where I would pick up the phone and call somebody and be like, help, I need help. Like, and I'm laughing now because I can, but it was real is what I'm saying. And so as I'm doing this healing work, I'm noticing that there's a function inside of me that's been always like pulling for somebody to come and rescue me. If it was Jesus, if it was a man, if it was a teacher, if it was anybody who could help me get from this environment that I was in. And I have been carrying that all of my life. And I finally saw it. And I almost don't know who to be without it. Like, I am like, wow. So for the last few days, I have just been kind of in a daze of like, who am I now? You know what I mean? If I'm not moving through this world, like, and it wasn't just my family, it was also the fact that I was Black and I felt unsafe in a white world. Like, just a deep experience of feeling under threat. And the response, the reaction in my body and in my system to that was a constant sort of crying out that was silent. That was silent. That was always looking for, how am I going to get free? Always there. And now that I have done work to heal, I'm like, fuck, I don't need that anymore. I didn't even know that that was, I mean, of course I knew it was there, but I didn't understand that that was a trauma response to my environment, a trauma response to my environment. And how do I detect it? By following my astrology, and then following my behavior, by witnessing my behavior. And when I talk about women and our subconscious behavior, this is what we're talking about. This is a shadow pattern in my subconscious of feeling deeply under threat. So it shows up as a clinging, as a yearning, as a, like, as a, I'm not whole, I'm not safe. And it informs everything I have ever done. And we all have these things running us, all of us. It's like an entity. And the reason I am here sharing my process is so that you can discover yours for you. You can discover, what are the things that are running you that you're unaware of? What's going on in your life? Because we're all trapped in a way of being and a consciousness that has us functioning at the lower frequencies of ourselves. Most of us, I don't want to say all of us, but most of us are. We are functioning in, because we have been in the dark ages, not because we're bad people, not because of capitalism or racism or any of that. All of those are offshoots of the dark ages, and we have all been in the dark ages, and we're all crossing from the dark ages to the golden age. Now we're all doing it. So I am here showing y'all my wounds, showing y'all my dirty, dirty panties with the hopes that you will see your own stuff, that you will see, like, well, what motivates me? Like, the need to feel special, like that, it showed up for me in this desire to feel special. But then I was like, is it really a desire to feel special? Well, sort of. But then I looked closer and I was like, no, that's not a desire. That's a desire to just be seen. Like, I'm in danger. I need somebody to help me. So yes, I have a stellium in the sixth house in Virgo. I can see everything. I can absolutely see everything with me. And once I can see it in me, then I can see it in others. Once I spot a thing in me, I can absolutely spot it in another person. So this is the work, because you have to peel back the layers of your subconscious, your shadow, in order to get the power. The power comes through your shadow. It comes through the wound. The power comes through the woundedness, right? So you have to face the things that are uncomfortable. You have to look at the things that you've been denying. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be deeply curious and understand, like, don't take it personal. Don't, like, one of the things that's challenging for us to do, which is why we have somebody like Trump in office, is because we're also afraid of our shadows. So then we create a big collector shadow that's playing out all of our fears and all of our unresolved issues on the main stage because we are in resistance to our own darkness. And I'm just sharing with you right now that I discovered an aspect of the darkness that is within me, that is that was so needy. Like I felt so needy and so helpless and so vulnerable and so, as a child, like and I had to create illusions to pretend. So I was a class clown and I was funny all the time. But really what was going on is I was terrified. And all of that was pretense. I was scared. I had a mother at home my daddy was kicking her ass on a regular basis. They were just chaotic, and it terrified me. It really terrified me. And no one had the wisdom to say, little girl, are you okay? Are you okay? Do you need anything? And what I did is I just performed. I just got good grades. I just was smart. I was precocious, faking over the terror. And now I'm a grown ass woman. Like, what is this feeling? And here I'm going to tell you guys what brought it up for me. I have been interacting with a man, right? I have been in an experience with a man, and I felt myself getting jealous. And I was like, jealousy. What is that about? And so I just started exploring what that was about. And when I started exploring it, I just went deeper and deeper. Show me more. What else is there? Show me more. And realize it's the little girl in me looking to be rescued, looking to be saved from the environment. Like, it really wasn't jealousy. It was this idea that somebody who could help me would pass me by. They wouldn't see me because they were distracted by something else. And I was like, okay. So when we explore our deepest feelings, our fears, our shadows, we discover the gold within ourselves. We discover the power, the magic within ourselves. And you can't get it. You can't access it if you are not willing to do the due diligence and take responsibility and see yourself with eyes of love and acceptance and compassion and devotion and forgiveness, but see yourself. All right, you all. So today is a great day. Like I said, the moon is in Virgo. Virgo is about the body. So it's, like, get some movement in, some stretching, some self-love, some self-care, like real self-love and self-care, some journaling. Today is a great day for those of you who have the hammers. I don't have my hammer right here right now, but I will get up and show you because it's a good day to do this because of the body piece. Oh. All right. Hammer. This thing just releases the tension out of the body. And we really, and moves the lymph energy, right? So that's why I take cinnamon and cloves so that we can get the body flowing. We want the energy in the body to be moving. All of this work is ultimately about energy. And, so when you're discovering your shadow and those things that make you go, oh, fuck, what is that? How come I'm feeling that? Or why is that? You want to move it out of the body. You don't want it to be stuck in the body. And so as women, things get stuck. You guys, I got my big ass pajamas on. We're very comfortable here. Yes. And so this is moving stuff out of the body so that it doesn't get stuck. Whew. This is the little girl in me. Because when I was a little girl, you guys, this is another thing. When I was a little girl, I'm so happy to talk about this. Because I lived with my grandmother and she had 6 kids that were older than me, I never had anything of my own. Everything was And I think a lot of kids grew up like that. But I never had any, I didn't have my own bedroom. I didn't have my own, I shared everything pretty much. She did, I get my own clothes sometimes, but that did something inside of me. I never owned myself. I never felt like I was mine. I felt like everything, like I had to share, I had to give everything away. I didn't have anything that was my own, no sense of self, right? And so that was a part of what was informing my experience. So as we come through our childhoods and we do this inner child work, and then we use the tools like this and the black walnut and the oregano oil to heal those energies and entities that are latched in our intestines, in our bodies, like literally just breaking it up, freeing yourself. So these are the things that are good to do today. Spiritual bath. You could do a spiritual bath today as well, because the moon is in opposition to Pisces, and that's water. So you could do a salt bath just to release the energy, to let yourself be free from, because we just had that full moon in Leo. Next month, we're going to have a full moon in Virgo and an eclipse, you all. So we are now officially in eclipse season. And that is why we are here doing this work, so that we are preparing. We create the foundation. We've been doing this work for a month now, right? So a month or more. And it's in honor of the eclipses, and the eclipse is now coming. We have been preparing. We've been here for a month getting ourselves ready. So when the eclipse comes, we have opened ourselves. We have created room. We have given our attention to this new opportunity that's coming through. So the universe knows that. The universe is like, okay, so you will experience, and pay attention, right? Like literally pay attention, because doing work with eclipses can be like coming out of the gates really fast. So pay attention to what's going on in your life. Be mindful, be meditative, understand the sacredness of your connection to the oneness of all, to the universe, and stand in gratitude. Stand in gratitude and deep humility. Humility means knowing that you are valuable. It doesn't mean playing small. Humility means knowing that the thing that you are is necessary and valuable, and you are here to give it over, to allow it to serve, that you are here to be a vessel. That is humility, to open yourself up for something greater than you. It's not to shrink, okay? It's not to be small, it's to open yourself up to something greater than you. So be humble. All right, y'all. Peace and blessings. Bye-bye.